Okay, Mansi,
Yes, sir.
the screen is visible with you.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay, so today we will discuss about the infectious diseases. You already know there are four major category of diseases. One is genetic diseases that based on the genetic composition of an individual. Another one is the biological diseases, means those that are caused by the biological agents like bacteria, virus, parasite, and fungi. Third one is physical. Some diseases can be caused by the physical agents like heat. And last one is the chemicals. Some chemicals can also cause the diseases because some chemicals are carcinogenic, some are mutagenic, so they can cause the variety of diseases. You can see here in a picture the carrier parents. If the parents having the genes that are defective and they have a disease, the 25% chance is unaffected in a male body and 25% chance is affected in a female kid, but 50% chance is equal in both male and female kid. They both can become the carrier. That means the gene that having by the parents may also be transferred from first generation to another generation. Next you can see the what is the definition of diseases? So diseases are the pathological conditions of body parts or tissue characterized by an identifiable group of the sign and symptoms. If someone having the pathological condition of their body parts or tissues and they are exhibiting some sign and symptoms, we can define that a disease. And what about infectious diseases? So infectious diseases by always occur by an infectious agent like bacteria, virus, protozoa, fungus. And one of the classical definition of infectious disease means they can be communicated from one person to another person by the variety of the route. That's why infectious diseases are also known as the communicable diseases. Next, what about infections? So infection occur when an infectious agent enter the body and begin to reproduce and then may or may not lead the diseases. So this is called infection. Always not every infection can be turned out into a disease. Sometimes the infectious agent can enter within our body, they can reproduce, but they cannot initiate the disease. And sometimes they can enter and they reproduce and initiate the disease. So there is the difference between disease and infection. Disease is a pathological condition of body parts or tissues where the infection is the entry of infectious agent and their multiplication. Disease is a disease, but infection may be turned as a disease. Not every time infection can turn as a disease, but sometime it can be turned into a disease. And what about pathogen? Pathogen, its name suggests patho means disease, gen means generating properties. So pathogen means an infectious agent. It might be a virus, bacteria, parasite or fungi. Those infectious agents that can generate the disease known as the pathogen. And what about the host, the cell, the tissue, the organ, the body? Those that having the microorganism, either the bacteria, virus, fungi or parasite termed as a host. Suppose if the RBC having the parasite within their structure, in that case RBC is the host cell for the particular parasite. For example, plasmodium is an parasite that affect the red blood cells. So when the plasmodium present within the RBC, the plasmodium is an pathogen and the RBC is a host in that circumstances. And what about the virulence? Virulence, you must know about the virulence. Virulence means the degree of pathogenicity. You already know those microbial agent that can cause the disease is known as the pathogen. And every pathogen have the virulence. Virulence means the degree of pathogenicity. But some microbe have the less virulence while some having the higher virulence. If we comparing The common cold is the very common disease that caused by the rhinovirus. And the COVID-19 virus also caused the COVID infection. So both are viruses and both can cause the diseases, but their degree of pathogenicity is differ. Means the rhinovirus caused the common cold infection, and that common cold infection will remain in our body for 3 to 5 days and they can be recovered simultaneously. But the COVID-19 infection can be remain within our body for the longer period of time and it can kill the person also. So this is the degree of pathogenicity. Both are virus, but some the rhinovirus having the less virulence compared than the COVID-19 virus. And you can also say in a different way the COVID-19 virus have a more virulence compared than the rhinovirus. So this is the virulence. You have any doubt in this slide?
No, sir.
Awesome. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Next, we are talking about the Koch postulate. You already know that Koch postulate is the very old phenomenon that is developed by the Louis Pasteur, and he found the way how to find out the which is the causative agent of the particular disease, and he provide the four criteria. First one, he suggests the specific disease is always caused by the specific microbes. Not a single type of microbe can cause the variety of diseases. Always the specific disease is caused by a specific microbe. And another one, the specific microbe that is suspected to cause the disease in the particular person will be isolated from the patient in the form of their body fluids, like we can collect their blood, sputum, urine, etc. And third, he suggests always allow to grow the sample that you have collected from the patient into a pure culture medium to find out the specific cause of a particular disease. And if you are failed to do the identification of causative organism in the first attempt, you can re-isolate the sample from the patient and again perform the experimental work to find out what is the actual cause of the disease. So he formulate a way, a guidelines how to find the causative agent of a particular disease, and these guidelines are collectively known as the Koch postulate. And these guidelines are written here. There are four guidelines. First, he suggests the specific disease is caused by a specific microbe. Second, he suggests we can collect the sample of the suspected microbes from the patient in form of the body fluid. And third, they suggest we have to culture in a pure culture media and find out the specific cause of disease. And fourth, if you fail to do this work in the first attempt, you can re-isolate the organism also. So if you have any doubt, you can ask. Any problem?
Sir.
Okay, so now we are discussing about what about the infectious disease agent. Most infectious agents that cause the disease are microscopic in size. That's why we call them microbes or microorganisms. And there are different types of microorganisms you already know: bacteria, virus, protozoa, fungi, and helminths. Infectious agents have probably always caused the disease in human. A smallpox has been described in the ancient Egyptian and Chinese writing and may have been responsible for more death than all other infectious disease combined. There is the evidence that malaria and poliomyelitis have existed since the ancient times, and in the 14th century the bubonic plague is also a bacterial disease. So bubonic plague, that is caused by the Yersinia pestis, or Black Death, killed about 20 million people in the Europe alone in 14th century. But in 20th century, in 1918, the influenza may kill up to 50 million people worldwide, and close to 20 million people have died of AIDS to till date, and recreated 19 influenza virion. And again, you have idea In 21st century, the COVID-19 is also a type of virus has killed the lot of peoples across the world. How infectious agent cause the diseases? So first of all, infectious agents enter within our body and they produce the poisons. But you already know in last class we have discussed there are the difference between poisons and toxins. Poisons are man-made industrial product while toxin is an biological product. And toxin is produced by variety of bacteria, and when we talking about the snake venom is also a type of toxin. So the infectious agent enter within our body and they release the toxin and some special enzymes. And with the help of that toxin and enzymes, they destroy the cell and tissues of a particular organ and then cause the diseases. Direct invasion and destruction of host cell. They can directly invade the human body and sometimes they destruct the host cell. Suppose if they are entering with the skin cells, first of all they destroy the skin cells then enter within the host cell. Third, they trigger the response from the host immune system leading to disease sign and symptoms. They can also affect the immunity of an individual because due to some kind of the infectious agent our immunity is become lowered because they directly or indirectly affect the immune system. For example, when we talking about the human immune virus, this virus attack on the immune cells and you already know immune cells has maintained a special kind of immunity within our body that known as the cell mediated immunity. So in that circumstances, the immunity of an host is become lowered and they can easily cause the diseases. Okay, so how the infectious agent cause the diseases? You can write down these things. And what are the phases of infectious diseases? So first, what about the incubation period? Generally, when we culturing the any specimen into a petri plate in the microbiology laboratory, we put the bacterial specimen over the media and then put the media into the incubator at the 37 degrees Celsius for the a specific period of time. So that time is known as incubation time. But here we are talking about the incubation period and there is lot of difference between incubation time and incubation period. Incubation time defined that when you put the bacterial specimen over the media and put that media into the incubator for the variety of time as per the bacterial species. For example, 18 hours, 24 hours, and after that you will get the bacterial colony as a growth. So that period is known as the incubation time. But when the microbe enter within our body, that not cause the disease instantly. They took some time for colonization and for reproduction to increase their numbers. And where their numbers are get increased, then the microbe can cause the diseases. So when the microbe enter within our body and when we exhibit the first sign and symptoms of the disease, the duration between the entrance of microbe and the exhibition of sign and symptoms is known as the incubation period. So it is different from the incubation time. Always remember that. The time between infection and the appearance of sign and symptoms is known as the incubation period. And another one is the prodromal phase, mild. This phase is a mild, non-specific symptoms that signal onset of some disease. So in prodromal phase, you will always get the non-specific symptoms. There are two types of symptoms, specific and non-specific. Specific means they clearly indicates this disease is occur into the host body. And non-specific means like headache, like fever. These types of the symptoms you will get almost in the every type of the diseases. So we cannot say that on the basis of fever what type of diseases occur. Why the fever is occur in a person? Due to physical stress, due to bacterial infection, due to viral infection, due to fungal infection, due to parasitic infection, and what kind of the bacteria, virus, parasite is there. So that's why these are known as the prodromal phase, where we does not seen any specific symptoms. On behalf, we can say that this type of disease is occur here in a host. Another one is the clinical phase. Clinical phase means a person experience a typical sign and symptoms of the disease. And on the basis of that symptoms, we can say that and we can conclude very easily this disease is occur into a person. So this is called clinical phase, and that type of symptoms are known as the clinical symptoms. And the third phase, fourth phase is decline phase. Decline phase means subsidence of the symptoms. In decline phase, when the microbes are start declining within your body due to the treatment that you have received, the symptoms are also get reduced. Your symptoms will get reduced day by day. And another one is the recovery phase. Here the symptoms have disappeared. The tissues that having the injury is healed properly, and the body that lost their strength again gain the strength and work as a whole body. This is the classification of infectious disease on the basis of duration. There are three types of infectious disease. One, acute infection means the short term infections are known as acute infection. And another one is the chronic, you already know. The long term infections are known as chronic infection. Third one is latent infection. Latent infection means the person having the disease causing microbes within their body, but the sign and symptoms are not appear in his or her body, so that is called latent infection. You can also say it's a hidden infection. On the basis of location, there are two type of infectious disease. One is local. Local means if you having the bacterial infection in your finger, that means this is the local infection. It's only localized to the particular finger only. And systemic means when the whole system is get affected. For example, pneumonia, the respiratory system is affected. So this is called the systemic infection. And on the basis of timing, timing means the primary infection. Primary infection, you always remember those individuals who are very healthy and get the disease by a disease causing microbe is known as the primary infection. Suppose someone get the infection of human immune virus and develop the disease HIV, AIDS. So that AIDS is the primary infection. And we just discussed due to HIV infection, the immunity of an person is become lowered. That's why he or she may be able to develop the variety of diseases by their normal flora also, that not initiate the disease when the person is very healthy and their immunity is very strong. So the secondary infections can be very easily occurred into a person who have the lower immune system there due to any kind of the pre-existing disease. So that type of infection is known as secondary infection, and secondary infection is also known as opportunistic infection. So on the basis of timing, there are two type of infection. First one is primary, another one is the secondary, that also known as the opportunistic. And you always remember primary disease can be occur into a person who is healthy, but secondary infection is only occur to a person who having a lowered immune system immunity. Okay, this is the influenza virus. It is the type of virus that can cause the infectious disease. Their name is flu. Acute contagious disease. This is the acute contagious disease means acute means again acute means short term disease. And contagious means it can be communicated very easily from one person to another person. And this virus affect the respiratory tract and cause the respiratory tract infection. But the symptoms felt throughout the entire body. But symptoms you will be feel into the entire body. Epidemics occur seasonally with the low fatality. More deadly pandemic occurs several times in each century. Highly changeable virus. Changeable virus means they can change their antigenic property time to time, and it can cause the disease into humans, pigs and birds. Concern exists that current avian flu will lead to the new pandemic. People suggest this virus can cause the pandemic in upcoming years. How? Now we're talking about the infectious disease. Agent that cause infectious disease can be transmitted by many way into a one person to another person. First through the contaminated air, second through the contaminated food or water, third through the body fluids like blood, like semen, like saliva, and fourth by the direct contact means through the sexual contact, and also with the contaminated objects. Sometimes by animal bites, the diseases can also be transmitted, and by some vectors like some insect like mosquito, birds, bats can also transmit the diseases from one person to another person. How we can reduce the spread of infectious diseases? So first you have to use the vaccination. With the vaccination, we can increase the herd immunity. And you already know what is herd immunity. Herd immunity means the overall immunity of a particular community is known as the herd immunity. So with the help of the vaccination, we can increase the herd immunity, and we can use the antimicrobial drugs also to kill the different types of microbes. Good personal hygiene and sanitation. You have to maintain the good hygiene. You have to wash your hands before eating. You have to wash your hands after using the washroom. So this type of the personal hygiene is very good. Sanitation means you have to drink the good water, safe water, and you should have the closed sanitation system. Okay. And again, take a protection against the mosquito. You have to use the anti mosquito repellents, and you can use the mosquito net also while sleeping. You have to wear the light color cloths. And another one is the quarantine. Quarantine means if you are affected with the any type of the infectious disease, you should have to keep yourself as a quarantine to protect the other peoples who are living with you and the other person who are living around you by the transmission of such kind of the diseases. Okay. Infectious disease as a cause of death. Infectious disease are responsible for the quarter to the third of the all death worldwide. Those deaths that occur worldwide, so this is the one quarter of the total worldwide death is occurred due to the infectious diseases. Infectious diseases account for more than half of the death in the child under the age of the 5. And of the top 10 causes of death compiled by the World Health Organization, 5 are due to the infectious diseases. Top 10 single agent killer like HIV, AIDS, malaria and tuberculosis. The other top killers are lower respiratory infection and diarrheal diseases, which are caused by the variety of agents. So these are the top single agents that can cause the variety of diseases that can lead to the death. Emerging diseases are those that have recently appeared within a population and whose incidence or geographic range is increased rapidly, like COVID-19. And diseases can emerge or re-emerge due to appearance of previously unknown agent. Evolution of new infectious agent. If the infectious agent develop the new antigenic property, it can again cause the diseases. A spread of an infectious disease to the new host. If this virus can cause, suppose last we all get the COVID-19 infection in human. So suppose if the animals also start getting the COVID-19 infection, this disease can occur re-again. And a spread of an infectious agent to the new location. If the disease is occur in India, if a particular disease occur in India and that also get spreaded to the new location, so it can also cause the diseases. And another one is the acquisition of resistant to antimicrobial drugs. We always using the antimicrobial drugs to kill the microbes. But when that antimicrobial drugs develop the resistance against the particular antimicrobial agent we using, You can also know the infectious disease can re-emerge and start causing the diseases. Climate change is also a factor that can leads the infectious diseases, and these are the modes of disease transmission. First one is direct contact through handshaking, kissing, sexual intercourse, and mosquito bites. The disease can be transmitted from one person to another person. Indirect contact like drinking glasses, toothbrush, toys, and the punctures means if you using the same lancet to puncture the same different individuals, or you using the same needle to inject the drugs. This is also indirect contact and can cause the variety of diseases. Droplet transmission. Suppose when you cough or sneeze in the open area, within the 1 meter, the person who living together can get such type of infectious agent. Airborne dust particles, streams, swimming pools also having the bacteria that can cause the diseases. Foodborne diseases, if you are using the poultry product like egg, meat, milk, seafood, if they are contaminated with the bacterial species, you can also get the diseases. Vector transmission, some are mechanical vectors like flies, roaches, they can cause also cause the diseases, and some are biological like lice, mites, mosquito, ticks. They can also cause the diseases and spread the disease from one person to another person. Nosocomial infection, you should also have an idea. Nosocomial infections are also known as hospital acquired infection. So due to the hospital stay, when the patient come to a hospital, they don't have the disease like that. But during hospital stay, he or she might develop some other kind of the diseases that known as the hospital acquired infection. And not only these infection are occur into the patient, sometimes this infection can occur into the person who live together with the patient during the hospital stay. So these infections are also known as nosocomial infections and hospital acquired infection, and as a hospital acquired infection, 40% of the infections, that means majority of the infection is caused into the UTI tract, urinary tract infection. 19% infection occur at the surgical site where surgery has been done. 15% infections are associated with the respiratory tract and other meningitis and gastroenteritis. That means the with the layer of brain meninges, and with the intestine or stomach 12% infections are occur. On skin 8% infections are occur, and septicemia means the production of toxin within the bloodstream. 6% cases is occur through the hospital acquired infection. And now you can see here a table, a smallpox caused by the virus, affected organ is a skin, transmission is occurred through droplet, influenza is also a virus, affected organ respiratory system, transmission occurred through the direct contact, HIV AIDS again a virus, affect the immune system, transmitted through body fluid. So you can also observe this table. And what causes the incidence to increase? The reservoir, portal of exit, agent, portal of entry, susceptible host, and person to person transmission. This is the chain how the communicable diseases is transferred from one person to another person. And these are the factors that influence the disease transmission: climate change, environmental factor, animals, food production, intensive farming, antibiotics, vector proliferation, vector resistance, and population growth, migrational behavior, antigenic susceptibility, immunogenicity, virulence, pathogenicity, all these factors can affect the disease transmission. So this is all about the infectious disease. And you will get this PPT through the link that I have already shared with you. Okay. So in the
Yes, sir.
meantime, if you have any query, you can ask about the infectious diseases.
अ, अभी सर जो आपने प्रीवियस स्लाइड में जब इन्फेक्शंस पढ़ा रहे थे तो वहां पर एक वो डिजीज बताई थी, नाम नहीं अभी ध्यान आ रहा है, तो प्लीज वो वाली स्लाइड को ओपन कर दीजिए। थर्ड स्लाइड थी शायद डिजीज की।
आया?
नो सर, फोर्थ देखिएगा, फोर्थ। सारी डिजीज ली थी उसमें। हाँ, ऊपर फोर्थ स्लाइड है सर, फोर्थ।
फोर्थ वन।
यस सर।
हाँ पूछो। इसमें जानना है कॉज पॉस्टुलेट में।
नहीं नहीं सर, वो डिजीज थी छोटी सी, जब आप कोविड वगैरह बता रहे थे कि सारे हुए थे ना, उसमें एक डिजीज थी। नाम नहीं है। एक सेकंड सर, एक सेकंड। देख लेंगे सर, नीचे स्टार्टिंग की स्लाइड में थी, थर्ड थर्ड से फिफ्थ की स्लाइड के बीच में।
देखो।
एक pathogens। नहीं सर, ये तो बैक्टीरिया वायरस था। सर दूसरी स्लाइड। सर, सर
Don't
नेक्स्ट।
worry, you will get through this PPT from the link. Okay. And you can ask through the WhatsApp also.
हम्म।
उससे पूछ लेना, ठीक है?
जी सर।
Okay. Tavis, you have any query? Tavis, I think she only joined the meeting, not attending the class.
यस सर, एक चीज और थी।
हम्म।
जैसे मेरी फैमिली में जितने भी मतलब मेंबर्स हैं, उनको जेनेटिकली लीवर सिरोसिस की डिजीज
हम्म।
है ना। तो वैक्सीनेशन जैसे हम अगर कराना चाहें, हमने बहुत छोटे पे कराया था
हम्म।
हेपेटाइटिस का वैक्सीनेशन, बट हमने अभी किसी से मतलब जैसे कंसल्ट नहीं किया। तो जैसे मान लीजिए HCV है, HIV है, जितने भी ये हमारे ट्रांसमिशन होने वाली डिजीज है, अगर हम इसका प्री वैक्सीनेशन करा लेंगे साथ में ही, जैसे हमने HCV का भी करा लिया, HIV का भी करा लिया, और भी अदर वायरल डिजीज होती है उनका भी करा लिया, तो कोई इश्यू तो नहीं है एक साथ अगर कराया, इनमें थोड़ा सा टाइम पीरियड रख ले।
थोड़ा थोड़ा टाइम के पश्चात कराना चाहिए क्योंकि उसमें एंटीबॉडी बनने में टाइम लगेगा।
टाइम
तो
लगेगा
कुछ कुछ
क्योंकि
ड्यूरेशन
सर
के बाद आप करा सकते हो।
हेपेटाइटिस, सॉरी, लीवर सिरोसिस तो सर पूरी फैमिली को ही है, मतलब फादर के नानी को थी, फिर दादी को हुई, फिर फादर को हुई, फिर दो बुआ है उनको भी हुई है। और मेरा भी मतलब ऐसा LFT पैनल हमेशा डिस्टर्ब्ड रहता है, अभी ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, लेकिन
हम्म।
डिस्टर्ब्ड रहता है। और बीच में हमने मतलब स्टार्टिंग में 2.5 3 साल पहले थोड़ा बहुत हॉस्पिटल वर्क, लैब वर्क भी किया था 2 3 महीने के लिए। तो वहां पे मल्टीपल, जब नए नए थे तो ही क्लीन नीडल थी, बट कभी कभी ओपन करते टाइम क्योंकि एक्सपीरियंस नहीं था तो पंक्चर हो जाती थी। तो वही हमने सोचा कि HIV वगैरह और जो अदर मतलब फैक्टर्स होते हैं ना, तो उनका एक बार वैक्सीनेशन करा लें तो उसमें फिर
देखो
ऐसा तो
एच
नहीं
आई
है
वी
सर
का
कि बात।
एच आई वी का वैक्सीनेशन तो है नहीं। ओनली आपका वैक्सीनेशन हेपेटाइटिस का है, HCV का है, वो आप करा सकते हो। आप अपने
नहीं,
फैमिली
हाँ
डॉक्टर
मतलब।
से एक बार कंसल्ट करिए। ठीक है बेटा?
अच्छा। हाँ।
ओ।
ओके। और कुछ नहीं सर,
ओके।
बाकी तो ये ठीक है।
ओके गुड।
थैंक यू सर।